Welcome to Dragon's Eye D&D. Today, I will be walking you through painting a black dragon Wyrmling from WizKids Minis. I start off using a mixture of black and white primer to make a dark gray. This will be my first coat. When painting minis, make sure to thin your paint with water. I usually mix about 2 parts water, 1 part paint, but there may be times when you might want the paint to be a little thinner. I sped this video up for the sake of time, but overall this took me about an hour and a half to 2 hours to paint. Had I chose to paint this dragon more true to the description of a black dragon, this would have maybe taken an hour to paint, but I like to add my own flair to my minis. My first coat of paint was probably too thick, so maybe next time I'll do 3 parts water, 1 part paint. It is important to make sure your paint isn't too watered down, or else it will create watermarks and create more work for yourself than necessary. When I paint, I like to use Vallejo paints. They can be a bit pricey, but the quality of paint is much better than any other brand I have used. I'll leave a link in the description for my paint supplies if you're interested. Doing one flat color like this all over the mini would have been much easier and faster with an airbrush, but I do not have the funds for one of those yet. They are especially great for transitions from one color to another, or for larger minis. About here you can see how much thinner the paint is. I went in and added more water so the paint went on properly. After this first coat, I added 2 more, each one darker than the last to give the shadows and highlights that I was looking for on the black color of the dragon. Now, the first coat is almost done. I just need to go in with a smaller brush and do some touch-ups to make sure every part of the dragon is covered. The base that the dragon is standing on will come later, as it will be a different color. My added flair on this mini is a touch of livery green to hint at its poisonous nature. With details on this mini, I start from dark and work lighter, so first I mix the livery green with a small amount of black, and then I make the paint lighter for details and highlights. You can already see the difference. It is subtle, but that is what I want. I want the wings to look like they fade from one color to another, and that is done by using thin paint added in multiple layers. I accidentally skipped most of the details this time, only because I forgot about camera placement for much of that process. So here, I actually remembered and moved back into frame. I tell you, this YouTube thing is going to be something to get used to. Now you might be curious why I have the dragon positioned on top of that little brush saver there. That is actually because I like to keep my hands off of the Mini as much as possible, just so that I don't get any paint on my hands or accidentally rub off any dry paint on the Mini. So I grab any kind of cylindrical object, apply some double-sided tape, and attach it to the Mini. I have found that sticky tack actually works better, I just don't have any of that on hand for this video. After a couple touch-ups and highlights, I decided to paint the horns and underbelly of the dragon a desert yellow. It was an odd shade of brown, but I felt like it really connected and fit well with the green tones that I used earlier for the poison. The rest of the underbelly of the dragon was painstaking to keep in view of the camera, so I ended up skipping it this time. But if I have a way of taking a good picture of it, I will share that on one of my social media links. The skull and bones were a small addition to the miniature. I painted that as well off camera, but that's the end of the video. Thank you for watching. Feel free to leave a comment, a question, a tip, or some story, and I will try to reply. Until next time, thanks for watching Dragon's Eye D&D.